Schools resemble factories more than we care to admit. Students, like raw materials, are processed in batches. Bells dictate their movement, desks confine their bodies. The goal? To produce graduates who are identical, predictable, and ready to conform. This system prioritizes obedience over curiosity, conformity over creativity. Students are rewarded for following instructions, not questioning them. Independent thought is often stifled, viewed as disruptive to the production line. But what happens to a society that prioritizes obedience over innovation? We've traded exploration for memorization, critical thinking for standardized testing. This approach might create compliant workers, but it fails to cultivate the independent minds needed to solve complex problems. We're churning out cogs for a machine that no longer serves us. It's time to dismantle the factory model and rebuild education from the ground up. We need schools that nurture individuality, not suppress it. Only then can we foster the next generation of thinkers, innovators, and leaders. The current education system didn't emerge by accident. It was meticulously crafted during the Industrial Revolution to meet the needs of a burgeoning factory economy. Workers needed to be punctual, obedient, and able to perform repetitive tasks without complaint. Schools were tasked with instilling these values. This factory-style education system, with its emphasis on rote learning and strict discipline, was deemed efficient in churning out a compliant workforce. But times have changed. The automated economy demands a different set of skills: critical thinking, problem-solving, and adaptability. Yet our schools remain stubbornly rooted in the past. We're preparing students for a world that no longer exists, equipping them with outdated skills for jobs that are rapidly disappearing. This disconnect between what is taught and what is needed is failing our students and our future. We can't afford to cling to an antiquated system designed for a bygone era. It's time to move beyond the industrial model and embrace an education system fit for the 21st century. Standardized tests are the factory floor quality control of the education system. They measure students not on their creativity, critical thinking, or individuality, but on their ability to memorize facts and regurgitate information on demand. This narrow focus stifles creativity and fosters a culture of conformity. These tests have become high stakes, determining not only student placement but also school funding and teacher evaluations. The pressure to perform well on these exams trickles down, forcing teachers to prioritize test preparation over meaningful learning experiences. The obsession with standardized testing has created an environment of anxiety and pressure for students. Instead of fostering a love of learning, it promotes a fear of failure, pushing students to simply memorize information rather than truly understanding it. We must move beyond these reductive measures of success. True learning cannot be captured in a multiple-choice bubble. It's time to assess students on their ability to think critically, solve problems creatively, and apply their knowledge to real-world situations. Higher education is often touted as the key to success, the gateway to a brighter future. But for many, the cost of a college degree has become an insurmountable barrier, a crushing weight that can stifle dreams before they even have a chance to take flight. The rising cost of tuition, coupled with stagnant wages and a shrinking middle class, has made higher education increasingly unattainable for many. Students are forced to take on crippling debt loads, mortgaging their futures for the chance to earn a degree. This financial burden has ripple effects throughout society. It delays homeownership, stifles entrepreneurship, and forces graduates into soul-crushing jobs just to make ends meet. We're creating a generation saddled with debt, their aspirations held hostage by the exorbitant cost of a college degree. Access to affordable, quality education should be a right, not a privilege reserved for the wealthy few. We need to rethink our priorities, invest in our future, and make higher education accessible to all, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Section 5. Missing tools for the toolbox of life. Our education system excels at teaching students how to memorize historical dates, solve complex equations, and analyze literary texts. But it often falls short in equipping them with the practical life skills necessary to navigate the complexities of adulthood. Financial literacy, basic home repair, cooking, time management, conflict resolution, these essential skills are often absent from traditional curriculums. We're sending graduates out into the world ill-prepared for the challenges that await them, lacking the tools to manage their finances, maintain their homes, or navigate interpersonal relationships. Integrating practical life skills into education is not about diminishing the importance of academics. It's about providing a more holistic education, one that equips students with both the knowledge and the skills they need to thrive in all aspects of life. It's time to bridge the gap between the theoretical and the practical, to ensure that graduates are not only well-versed in history and science, but also equipped with the life skills necessary to lead fulfilling and independent lives. Section 6. Education versus indoctrination. Is our education system truly about fostering critical thinking and preparing students for a fulfilling life? Or has it become a tool for indoctrination, shaping obedient workers who won't question the status quo? This is the uncomfortable question we must confront. We're taught to memorize facts, not to question them. Conformity is rewarded, while dissent is often silenced. This approach might produce compliant workers, but it stifles the very essence of true learning: curiosity, critical thinking, and the courage to challenge conventional wisdom. True education should empower individuals, not mold them into passive recipients of information. It should cultivate critical thinking, encouraging students to question, to analyze, and to form their own informed opinions. We must reclaim education from the clutches of indoctrination. Let's nurture critical thinkers who can analyze information, challenge assumptions, and envision a better future. Let's empower students to become active participants in shaping their world, not passive bystanders. Section 7. The illusion of choice. We're often told that our education system offers a multitude of choices: public or private, charter or magnet, vocational or college prep. But beneath this veneer of choice lies a rigid structure that funnels students towards predetermined outcomes, limiting their agency and potential. Whether it's the pressure to excel on standardized tests, the narrow curriculum focused on college preparation, or the tracking of students into vocational or academic pathways, the system often dictates the terms of success, leaving little room for individual exploration and discovery. True choice in education goes beyond selecting from a predetermined menu of options. It's about empowering students to co-create their learning journeys, to pursue their passions, and to design personalized learning experiences that ignite their curiosity and tap into their unique talents. It's time to move beyond the illusion of choice and embrace a system that empowers students to become active architects of their education. Let's create a system that celebrates individuality, nurtures diverse talents, and allows each student to chart their own course towards a fulfilling and meaningful life. Section 8. A system ripe for reinvention. The cracks in the foundation of our education system are impossible to ignore. From the emphasis on rote memorization to the crushing burden of student debt, the system is failing to meet the needs of a rapidly changing world. But within this crisis lies an opportunity for radical reinvention. We can start by shifting our focus from standardization to personalization, recognizing that each student is unique and learns in different ways. Let's embrace technology not as a replacement for teachers, but as a tool to enhance and personalize the learning experience. We must move beyond the confines of the traditional classroom, embracing experiential learning opportunities that connect students with their communities and the real world. Let's empower educators to become facilitators of learning, guiding students on their individual journeys of discovery. This is not about tearing down the system, but about rebuilding it from the ground up, creating a system that is flexible, adaptable, and responsive to the evolving needs of learners and the demands of the 21st century. Section 9. Reclaiming the power of learning. We've come to view education as a means to an end, a pathway to a job, a degree, or a certain level of social status. But in the process, we've lost sight of the intrinsic value of learning, the joy of discovery, the power of knowledge, and the ability to transform lives. It's time to reclaim the power of learning, to shift our focus from extrinsic rewards to intrinsic motivation. Let's create learning environments that foster curiosity, ignite passions, and empower students to become lifelong learners. Let's move beyond the rigid confines of standardized tests and embrace assessments that celebrate creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. Let's empower educators to become co-creators with their students, designing learning experiences that are relevant, engaging, and empowering. The future of education is not about perpetuating an outdated system, but about embracing a new paradigm, one that recognizes the unique potential within each student and empowers them to become the architects of their own learning and the authors of their own futures.